Hello, welcome to my shop again. I want to thank Mike Hunter as being a sponsor. Check out his website for some of the carbide tools that he has to offer. Today we're going to do a bowl, and if you remember, last video I did was on capturing the essence of a crotch from a tree, and what I'm going to do is use a crotch area to make a calabash bowl. Calabash shape is like a gourd shape. I've already cut the pith is about where my hand is here. The pith in the area of the tree is gone outside of the pith lines. So all that's left is just the essence of the crotch. So you can see it's a cut in half, and with the branches gone where the pith is, cut away, so that all is left is the essence of the crotch that's in the middle. Right? As always, I'm going to start between centers, and I'm going to put it on the balance point to get started, and then the roughing out stage is going to give me information, and it'd be pretty lucky if the first axis that I put on the balance point is going to be the final axis. We'll move it around after we give ourselves some information and see what we have here. So I'm going to start off by putting it between centers on the balance point. I'm going to start and let the weight go to the bottom, and then lift it up gradually till we find the balance point. And we're going to tighten it up real good, stretch the drive teeth so that it'll have a good hold, and get ready to hog it off. Okay, now we've got it on the balance point. I'm going to start to rough it out. I'm going to use the bowl gouge, and I'm going to make the sharp edge go into the side of the tree and hog off the corners and get it round, and then we'll take another look at it. I apologize, there's been some distortion here. I think that the mic is a little bit too close to the transformer. Doing a push cut here with the bevel support behind. Real easy cut to make a lot of wood go away in a hurry. Now that we've given ourselves some information, we can start to look at this and make some adjustments. What I want to see is that the top of the vessel is going to be balanced. I'm going to have some high spots and I'm going to have some low spots, and I don't want it to be really tilty to the table. I want to get the high spots equal and the low spots equal to the table. So I'm going to take a laser and I'm going to point at this, and we're going to reevaluate and look and see where we need to move it. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this block of wood so that I can tilt this low spot up and have that, instead of being a very low spot in the side of the bowl, that the rim is more uniform. Alright, let's move this. I'm going to take the tailstock away and move it, tilt it so that I bring this low area up. Alright, now we have to hog it off, clean it up, and see where it's at, and make some more adjustments as we go. Okay, now that I've trued it back up again, I'm going to look at those low spots, and if I watch the laser now on that low spot there we started, it was way off, and I go back over to the other side where the low spot is, I'm very close here. I'm only quarter inch off, so that's really good that the low spots are equal now. Let me check the high spots. That's way up here, that high spot on this side versus the high spot on the other side. Okay, now I'm about almost an inch off here, so I'm going to tilt this one more time and then rough it out again so that the high spots are balanced. Okay, now that I have it on the axis that I want, I am going to prepare for my glue block. I'm going to use a glue block method to hold this. Now, I don't want to waste any of this wood away. That crotch is, the character and color of that crotch is what I'm after, the valuable part of that. So using a glue block, I can get 100% of this piece of wood. I'll make the bottom of my bowl come down very close to my waist area. So I'm just preparing a concave surface for my glue block to seat. Chisel the little nub off and put the glue on the wood, put the accelerator on the glue block, and we're ready to go. Now I've got all of the outside roughed out and put on the glue block so that it gives me a chance now, since I'm on the final axis, to refine the shape. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make a little OG shape here on the top and tuck in the bottom so that it's a nice shallow bowl shape. Design wise, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to capture both the low spots and the high spots in the top of the gourd shape, and then let the bottom be a little bit bulbous and round. I think you'll see what I mean when I start doing it. I'm doing the push cut here. It's roughing off a lot of wood in a hurry, getting it down to round and making the shape develop. Then I'm going to turn around here and lower the handle and do a shear scrape on the outside. Oh yeah, sharp tools are fun. The whole idea here is that I don't want to have to sand. Now that I've got the outside shape all done, I'm going to just hog out this inside real quickly, and you'll notice that I'm going to go with the sharp edge directly into the side of the tree and make hay really quick with large shavings, and very easy, no effort at all. If I was going to stay in total grain integrity, the direction of my cut is going to be from the largest diameter out towards the rim and the largest diameter down towards the bottom. That would give me supported fibers. Okay. Now in this case, if you watch what I'm going to do next, I'm actually going to go the wrong way for a little while. I'm going to make my push cuts in towards the bowl just to get the wood out of the way first, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to shear scrape. Actually, I'm going to lower the handle and I'm going to make the cut pull back out to clean up the surface. So I'm going to do both, which might be a little confusing if you're familiar with the priority that I put on grain orientation. I'm actually going to go the wrong way to the grain here for a short period of time, but I'm going to turn around and go the other way to clean it up. And my whole goal here is that I don't want to have to sand. That inside is going to be very difficult to sand, especially with the voids in the natural edge. So I want to make that very, very clean right off my tool. Now I'm going to get this rim relatively thin, so we're going to go in stages. I just take a small stage here of, maybe an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, and we're going to measure that, clean it up, get it nice, and before we go on to the next stage, we want to get it perfect so that I don't have to sand. Now I've lowered my handle. The first cut I did was a push cut right in, getting the waste wood away. Now I lowered the handle and closed the flute to do a shear scrape with a steep angle shear scraping motion there back and forth. That allows me to get a very clean cut so I don't have to sand. And what you didn't see is that just before I did this, I went and sharpened my tool, so I have a brand new sharp edge. Again, need the best methods I can find so I don't have to sand. Woo, perfect. Love it. All right. Good. So now I'm going to take another stage. Now hog off the second stage with a push cut again. I have to measure often. I want to make sure that's a uniform wall thickness. There's a push cut again, finishing up the wall thickness. I went and sharpened. Measure often, lower my handle, and shear scrape. So now I got the first half of that calabash shape done on the inside with a shear scrape, the handle down, very, very clean and nice. So now I'm going to work on the inside, and we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to go from the large diameter down to the middle. Right, I'm going to take my final cut. I just went to sharpen, and I'm going to line my bevel up with the previous stage and work on through that with a nice sweeping arc, because this is the last shot. Line up the bevel first. There it is. Go very slowly so I can watch the thickness of the shaving. Oh, that feels good. Oh, I'm just a hair little bit thick on the bottom, but that's okay. I can live with that. It's just 30 seconds maybe difference there, but that's a really nice shape, so I'm going to live with that and not go back and do it again. Now we work our way down into the bowl stage by stage. We need to go in short sections and stages so that we have support and the wood doesn't start to vibrate on us. Here I'm lining up the bevel. Watch a little whisk of a shaving at the tip, means the bevel's lined up. When I get that little whisk of a shaving, there it is, then I go and just pretend that the little shoulder from the first stage, between the first stage and second stage, isn't there, and just proceed very slowly so that it makes a clean cut. Again, I sharpened just before I started. Now I want you to take a look at something here. As I'm coming across this next stage, look at where my tool rest is. The tool rest is tucked in there as far as I can get it. I don't want to fall off the end of the tool rest there. And look at where my support is, way back here. I'm a good 4.5, almost 5 inches away from the tip of my tool with my support. That gets hard to handle. It's not really safe. But if I was to continue like this, I'd want a bowl gouge or a boring bar with a longer handle so I have the leverage to hang on to it. So now I'm going to switch my tool rest around in a different position, something that you might think is pretty wacky, but watch what happens. Now when I get in there, look at where my tool rest is in relationship to my tool. I'm only dangling off an inch to an inch and a half, inch and a quarter off the tool rest, so I've got a lot more control, a lot more support to make that cut. This is the final stage that I can measure. The diameter of the waste wood in the middle is where the glue block is in the back, so I can measure all the way down with the stage I'm working on there, and then clean up the middle is the last thing that I'll need to do. I can't measure the middle, so I'm going to feel that shape with my fingers and Again, with a very sharp tool. Each time I start a new stage, I go sharpen. All right, now we've taken it off the glue block and we've reversed it, and we're holding it on with the tailstock with the cone, the smaller cone, into the little drill dimple that we had in there so that it's on center, and we're just driving it with the friction of the glue block that was left behind. We cleaned that up. So I have to take small cuts and go slow and lightly here to finish up this bottom, and we'll be done. Here we take light cuts because we're driving just with the friction, and the first thing is just to get it down to where the table height is. Second thing is I'm picking a diameter of the foot that I want. The third thing is to get the waste wood out of the way between where it's going to sit on the table and the finished bowl. And this last part I'm doing with a shear scraping, lower the handle way down, get a very clean cut, pulling the fibers, supported fibers from the foot out to the rim of the bowl, cleaning that up so that there's very little transition and not much sanding to do. Now that I've got the bottom cleaned up and finished, I could just stop, but I like to do a little bit of a detail underneath the bottom where it sits on the table, just to show it's been turned down there. So I'm going to pick up my spindle gouge, which has got a steeper angle grind on it, and I'm going to just roll a little bead here. Okay, and when I do that, it fuzzes up the leading edge a little bit. So I got to come back the other way, and the flute now is pointing almost straight up and down, so the tip of the tool is going to be slicing almost straight up and down to the wood, and I can clean up the back side of my little bead. Okay, and I'll be done. Now all I have to do is just carve away that little tenon that's left behind, and I'll be done. I would have sanded this as I was going. While it was on the glue block, I'd sand the inside, and now I'd sand the outside as much as I can on the lathe. I couldn't do that for the video because this is wet wood, so I'll do that off camera, and we'll show you what the finished product looks like in a couple days. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Mike Hunter, for being a sponsor. Don't forget to subscribe. There's a couple different shots of the finished bowl here. Some of you, when I have travelers in that come in to take classes, they always comment, many comment about black squirrels. Well, we've got lots of black squirrels, all different varieties of black squirrels here, so I thought for those of you in different parts of the country.